Why are Europeans getting poorer day by day? But the poorer they become, the happier they seem to get. How is this possible? The United Nations just named the happiest place on Earth, and it's not Disney World, it's Finland. Once again this year, Denmark tops a United Nations poll as the happiest nation on Earth. No way. Denmark and Iceland are the happiest countries in the world. Finland, no surprise, has been declared the happiest country in the world. I know this sounds strange to hear, but it's true. Here is the income of an average American, and here is the income of an average European, literally half compared to Americans. With this much money, an ordinary European runs their household for the whole year. Yet, Europeans score higher on the happiness index than Americans. On the other hand, paradoxically, Americans earn double the Europeans but are unhappier. In fact, unemployment in Europe is 33% higher than in the US today. Still, the happiness index of an employed American is only 0.9 points higher than that of an unemployed European. You'll find many interviews of Americans who themselves say that even though in New York their salary was twice as much, they are much happier in Europe. I'm happier now than when I lived in New York, and I got paid nearly twice as much in New York as I do here. My name is Alotpool. I'm 30 years old, and I'm an American living in Copenhagen, Denmark. I'd say I'm happier living in Copenhagen than in New York. So, what kind of miracle is this? And remember the infamous 2008 financial crisis that destroyed many economies. If you compare the income of an average American and an average European over the last 80 years, you'll see that until 2008, Europeans' income was gradually catching up to Americans. But after the crisis, Europe's complete downfall began. European incomes dropped, while American incomes continued to rise. Then came 2020. Brexit happened, the UK withdrew from the EU, and the COVID pandemic spread across the globe, killing millions and devastating families. In 2021, the Russia-Ukraine war began. With so many blows, Europe's economy kept falling, and today it is literally half of America's. But here comes the puzzling paradox. By income graph, Europe lags far behind the US. Yet, on happiness measures, Happiness Index, Human Development Index HDI, Life Expectancy, Europe leads the US. Normally, the richer a person gets, the higher their happiness index should rise. Right, that's what we usually assume, but the data says otherwise. Let me explain why. We'll compare to people. Mr. American with an average annual income of $81,695. Mr. European with an average annual income of only $44,368. But despite earning half, Mr. E is twice as happy as Mr. A. What's Europe's secret code for happiness on less money? Let's find out. Understanding GDP per capita and PPP. GDP equals total value of goods and service. GDP per capita equals average income per person. But nominal GDP doesn't account for cost of living differences. That's where purchasing power parity PPP comes in. It shows how much a currency can buy in its own country. For example, $1 in the US may buy just one mango, but in India it buys 8. When you factor PPP in, Europe's average per capita jumps to $55,835. America's drops to $73,637, about $10,000 lower than nominal, meaning Europe has higher purchasing power because goods, food, clothing, etc. are cheaper there. Why Europeans spend less and stay happier? 1. Food and clothing. EU is the world's largest food and drink exporter. Chocolates, pasta, beer, wine, all cheaper at home. EU is also a hub for fashion brands Zara, H&M, Armani. Result: Europeans spend less on groceries and clothing compared to Americans. 2. Healthcare. Europe has universal healthcare coverage UHC funded by employers, taxes and sin taxes, tobacco, alcohol. Europeans pay only around €750 $800 annually for health care. In the US, people must buy private insurance. Households spend till the $5,200 annually. Lack of insurance kills 45,000 Americans per year. 3. Education. In Europe, education is either free or very cheap, often even at university level. In the US, households spend $1,656 per year on education. In India, private preschool can cost half the median income, far worse. This affordability is why approximately 50% of the world's international students go to Europe. Final takeaway, even if Americans earn double, their cost of living, food, housing, education, healthcare is so high that they end up with less real happiness. Europeans, despite lower nominal income, enjoy cheaper essentials, universal health care, affordable or free education, better work-life balance, stronger social safety nets. That's why Europeans consistently rank higher in happiness index, HDI, and life expectancy compared to Americans. In short, happiness is not directly proportional to salary. It depends on real living conditions, social security, and cost of living. Areas where Europe beats the U.S. Would you like me to also make a comparison chart Europe versus US with income, healthcare costs, education costs, and happiness score side by side for clarity?